Hey, it's Lisa Ryan, and I am so excited for a couple of reasons. Number one, you might be saying, she is really dressed up today, and not only from the waist up. Today is actually my first live in-person program that I have done since March 3rd. So I'm really excited about that. So there are no yoga pants and bare feet, on the bottom here. And I also want to let you know that I am going to be hosting 2 weeks from today, starting the Employee Retention Summit. So I know you're probably saying, Lisa, there is so much stuff online and with Zoom, and I have burnout, and why can't we all just get together and hang out? Well, at least I'll get to do that for a little bit today. But as we know, with COVID, with everything, the world is changing when it comes to the way that we get our information. And bringing together 25 experts over the course of 3 days, where you don't have to get on a plane, you don't have to stay in a hotel, you don't have to pay gobs of money to attend this event, and you're going to hear some of the very, very best speakers that are out there. So starting at 7:30 in the morning, which is going to be our kickoff call. I'm sorry, West Coast people. I am in Cleveland, Ohio. We are on East Coast time. So we're going to kick it off bright and early in the Facebook group. And I will be putting in all the links for this afterwards when the post I guess the post is live now. But check back. You can join the Facebook group. There's lots of activity going on in there, and I'd love to see you there. But in the Facebook group, 7:30 a.m. on November 9th, we're going to be kicking off the summit. And we're going to be actually opening it with economist Alan Beaulieu. So Alan and I have been on several programs together. And when we look at the economy and what's going to be happening when it comes to manufacturing, he's just a great source. You might be thinking, Lisa, holy cow, 25 speakers over 3 days. How are you going to do that? And how am I going to decide, which ones to go to? So I just want to give you a little bit of a quick rundown today. Actually, for the next 2 weeks, tune in at 10 o'clock every day, except for the 29th, where I'll be doing this at 9 o'clock, where you will be able to actually meet several of the experts that I have coming on to the summit and just kind of get a taste of what we're going to be talking about. Because maybe unlike some of the virtual programs where you've gone to, where it's a little bit like, death by PowerPoint, shall we say, these are interviews. It's just like you're a fly on the wall listening to a really great conversation from some fascinating people. We had a lot of fun. The interviews are about 30 minutes long. And yes, they are pre-recorded, because goodness knows I did not want to tempt the technology gods when it comes to having 25 people over 3 days live. Yeah, that would just not be it. But the live part of it is during their session, most of the speakers are going to be on a live chat. Now, as a speaker who's been doing primarily virtual events, since March, having it pre-recorded and then being live in the chat is actually pretty cool, because instead of being up on stage and not being able to talk to the speakers and ask questions and share ideas, there I am up on the virtual stage. And when people are making comments and asking questions, I'm right there and I can share. So we are incorporating that little bit of live as well. And I've broken it down into several different sections, because again, not every session is going to be right for every person. So how do you decide which ones to go? Because you really want to get the biggest bang for your buck, which in this case is time, because of course it's a free event to attend. Excuse me. So if you're doing things like you're a manufacturer and you're looking for specifically what other companies have done, other manufacturers have done to retain their talent, then we have Ru Patel, who's going to be talking about his experience of 30 years as a plant manager at General Mills. Andy Masteler and Dana Syndergaard are with C.A. Lawton Company, which is a foundry, and they've created a really cool culture and sharing some of those ideas. Jessica Young from Simtech is going to be, she's the president and team member of her team. And as a young woman purchasing a manufacturing company, what she did to get to know her people and to create, again, a really cool culture. And then a really interesting interview with Theo Etzel, who's the chairman of Conditioned Air. And what he did several years ago is he actually opened up his books to share the books with his employees. Now you would be saying, oh, Lisa, that is an insane thing to do. Why would I do that? And that's why I wanted to have Theo on the show. I actually met him at an event that we were both speaking at, and I just loved that concept. So if you are maybe looking to support your leaders and your managers more in their retention efforts, then again, we have Alan Bolio kicking off, talking about what to expect as far as the economy's coming up. And no, the election's got nothing to do with it. Alan Davis is going to be talking about the importance of that mission statement, because it's more than just a statement. It really should be your company mission. Amir Ganad is going to be talking about creating a high commitment culture, because when you have engaged employees, they are much more likely to be committed to your culture. And when they're committed, chances are really good that they're going to stay. Jeffrey Hazlett is going to be taking a look at it from the C-suite aspect. So what can C-suite leaders do to create that kind of culture? Because we know that culture does start at the top. And, Jeffrey is one of the best in the business, former CMO of Kodak, and has built the C-suite empire right now. Commander Dr. Mary Kelly, one of my favorite people on the planet. I shouldn't say that, they're all my favorite, but is going to be talking about, pivoting for process, pivoting for profit. Try to say that 3 times fast, but giving her leadership insight and building that culture. And then the ROI of membership. I have a special guest with Ed Rigsby, because I know that I've been reaching out to a lot of associations who are really kind of struggling right now because their conferences got canceled. So maybe that was the number one fundraising event. So what do you do in a time where people are making all of these financial decisions to make sure that your association is one of the choices that they make to keep their dues up? So that's what Ed and I are going to talk about. Now, if you're looking more to get the most from your employees, what can you do from a culture standpoint to work with your people, to connect with them? Then we have workforce resilience, which is talked about by MJ Calloway. So what you can do personally to build your resilience, and also to make sure that you have resilient employees working for you. Eric Chester is going to be talking about how to be fully staffed. So a lot of what we're talking about is on retention, but Eric is actually also talking about attraction, because even in these times of high unemployment, we still need to find the very best people. And particularly in manufacturing, there are millions of jobs going unfilled because we don't have the right skilled workers out there. So how can you use non-traditional routes to bring in the best people for your association? Dr. Joshua Fredenberg is going to talk about retaining, engaging, and developing culturally diverse leaders of the younger generation. So not only do we look at the different cultures and diversion and inclusion, but also taking into account all the different generations in the workplace too. And he has got a lot of energy. That's a fun interview. So we have Scott McKenzie, podcaster extraordinaire from Industrial Talk. He's going to be talking about how people are your business's driving purpose. And again, I was on one of Scott's podcasts earlier this year, and we just became fast friends. So that is a really fun conversation. My friend John Register is going to be talking about how hiring people with disabilities improves business, getting over that fear and sometimes that judgment that we make for people who are differently able than us. And then we have Sam Silverstein talking about or discussing, building that corporate culture built on accountability. Creating engaged employees is not always about, oh, yay, everything you do is so good, and not holding people accountable for their actions. When you want to retain people, you create the type of culture that makes them want to stay. And employees are paying attention to what you as leaders are doing. So again, I could go on and gush about all of these interviews, but all I got to say is you got to get your free pass today. It's free to attend. There's lots of worksheets and bonuses and benefits to come there. And so finally, the final session, if you're like, Lisa, either I'm an employee, I'm not a manager, I really don't lead people, I'm just looking for some personal development for myself. Well, we got you covered there too. Because when it comes to Rich Bontrager is going to be talking about these top virtual practices for presentation skills. I know you are probably up to your eyeballs in Zoom and Team and GoToMeeting and all of these other online platforms. And even though we're not with our employees in person, or with each other in person, I should say, we still want to make sure that we're doing the right things to connect, even if we're not in the same room with each other. And Rich is certainly an expert at that. Mimi Brown is going to be talking about communication skills and the importance of that, including some different personality types, how people are wired differently, and how that makes a difference when it comes to communication. Annette MacGyver, she actually works for a local joint vocational service school, and sharing with you as manufacturers the benefits of partnering with local JVSs, with community colleges. Because did you know that you could actually work with these institutions, with these colleges, and basically have made to order employees coming out of them? So Annette gives some really great information on that. Cara Soletto is going to be sharing millennials' real impact on retention. Because unlike times past with boomers and even Gen X, when it comes to millennials and now Gen Z, the workplace is different. And boy, have we gotten a taste of that in the last, 7 months, haven't we? Laura Timbrook is going to talk about wellness and the importance of wellness. Again, with all of these remote employees and all the stress and everything else that we're dealing with right now, how can we make sure that we have the culture that employees feel good physically as well? Maureen Zappala is going to be talking about imposter syndrome. This is when people are thinking, that people are going to find out that I'm not as smart as they think that I am. She says it much better than I am, but she's got a whole strategy as far as giving you tips to overcome imposter syndrome. And finally, we have Paul Mashenko with the respect effect. Now, we know that respect is important in any type of human relations, but when it comes to the workplace, what we can do to bring that into ourselves, and also the dollars behind what creating a respectful workplace will do for you. So I really didn't expect to go through all 25 of the speakers that you're going to be seeing. And like I said, every day at 10 o'clock, you're going to get the opportunity to meet one of the featured experts, except this Thursday, where I already have another meeting at 10 o'clock. So we'll be doing that one at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I'd love for you to tune in. I'm going to put all the links that you need below, but please join me here on LinkedIn for the next 2 weeks. And then November 9th to the 11th. There will be, the interviews will happen every hour on the hour, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're about 30 minutes long, so it's not going to take up a whole big portion of your day, and you will have the opportunity for live chat. If you have any questions, please send me a message. I would love to hear from you. I am so excited about this, and believe me, for the last 7 months, having something to look forward to through all of this chaos has been a real joy. So a lot of work and time has gone into this. You're going to meet some amazing experts, some amazing people, and I'm so excited to see you at the Employee Retention Summit for Manufacturers. I'm Lisa Ryan, and I will see you soon. Thanks.